Amandla. Amandla. Viva ANC, viva. Viva SACP, viva. Viva COSATU, viva. Amandla. Fellow South Africans, Now you've become experts at laughing at me. I can tell you, I can wear my mask properly now. Because you laughed at me, I learned to wear my mask, so I now no longer cover my eyes. You taught me a good lesson. Leaders of the African National Congress, the leadership of the leagues of the ANC, the leaders of COSATU and South African Communist parties, religious leaders who are amongst us, and the leaders of various mass democratic organizations who have joined us for this launch, and comrades and friends. I'm so delighted, comrades, to see so many of you wearing your masks. This is really good for our way of handling COVID. Let me just see how many people have vaccinated. Just raise your hands. Wow, this is great. Thank you very much. And continue spreading the message about vaccinations. Comrades, we are gathered here in the city of Tshwane to launch our election manifesto and to ask the people of South Africa to vote for the African National Congress in these local government elections on the 1st of November. On behalf of the leadership of the ANC, I'd like to recognize amongst us the presence of our former president, Comrade Thabo Mbeki, and former deputy president and president of the country at the time, Comrade Kgalema Motlanthe. Thank you, Zizi, and thank you, Mkhuluwa, for being amongst us. You lift our spirits on a continuous basis. I also want to send greetings to former President Jacob Zuma, and wish him a speedy recovery. As we ask the people of our country for their vote, we are mindful of the difficult times we are facing as families, as communities, and as a nation. All of us have lost friends, have lost colleagues, and in many cases, very close friends and family members to COVID-19. The country has recorded nearly 90,000 COVID deaths and is approaching 3 million confirmed cases of the disease. Nearly 2 million South Africans have lost their jobs. Many businesses have closed, and many people face financial hardship. Through a massive social and economic relief package, we have provided, as an ANC-led government, much needed support to businesses, to workers, and to the poor households in our communities that were affected by the pandemic. In the midst of all these challenges and building on the relief provided by national government, people want local government to deliver services that they need and support the local businesses that provide jobs and livelihoods. Our people want protection against crime and gangsters who extort money from infrastructure projects and companies. Local businesses want protection from unfair competition from unregistered businesses, and they do not want to pay expensive license fees, which eats into the little profit that they make. South Africans want water, electricity, sanitation, and refuse removal. Simple things. They want faulty electricity substations, burst water pipes, and overflowing sewage drains to be fixed, and they want them to be fixed on time. South Africans want tarred roads. They want tarred or paved pavements, and potholes that occur must be filled to avoid accidents and burst tires of their vehicles. They want illegal dumps removed and parks with safe facilities where their children can play. This is what South Africans want. In the face of hardship, our people have been calling for strong leaders who put the interests and the needs of our people first. Leaders who are not corrupt, leaders who will not divert money that is meant for service delivery into their own pockets. People want councillors that they can have confidence in and trust. Councillors who will be responsive to community concerns and available when problems arise. And people want, wherever I've gone throughout the country, they want a united, renewed, and revitalized African National Congress. They want this because they know that the future of this country is intricately linked with the unity and the renewal of the African National Congress. They want the ANC to correct its mistakes and once again to selflessly serve all the people of South Africa. We are gathered here in Tshwane and in many places across the country to answer that call. This evening, we present to the people of South Africa the African National Congress's Manifesto for 2021 local government elections, which is our plan and our solemn pledge for the next 5 years. This evening, we pledge to you, the people of South Africa, that we will do better, much better than we have done in the past. This is a pledge, and this is what we dedicate ourselves to you on. We have not always done the best that we were meant to do, and we have not always done the best that we are capable of doing. Yes, we stand here and admit that we have made mistakes. We have not always put the best people in positions of responsibility in government. Yes, too often we have been slow to act when our public representatives and leaders committed wrongdoing, when they have abused their positions or failed in implementing the mandate that you, our people, have given them. In the 2 years since the ANC was given a clear mandate to renew and rebuild itself, we have been working to restore our movement and remove the obstacles to progress towards a better South Africa. We have made important advances, but we are the first to admit that there is much more to be done. As the governing party, the ANC has been driving many critical developments at the national level. We have and are revitalizing institutions and agencies that have been weakened by years of state capture and corruption. We can see the progress in the work that is being done by a number of institutions. Just to name a few critical institutions in the life of South Africa. Just to name a few, the South African Revenue Service, the National Prosecuting Agency, or Authority rather, the Special Investigating Unit, the Hawks and other law enforcement agencies have been revitalized, been redirected, and are now doing their work to serve the interests of South Africans. Corruption is being thoroughly investigated. Stolen funds are being recovered and returned to the fiscus, and those who are alleged to be involved in these crimes are being pursued, arrested, and prosecuted. After years of impunity, the ANC, as the governing party, is leading a new era of accountability and of consequent management for wrongdoing. Under new leadership, state-owned enterprises have been tackling corruption. A number of our state-owned enterprises have recovered billions of rands of stolen money and are now clearly focused on delivering on their respective mandates. Even in the midst of the worst global health emergency in the century, we are reforming our economy and creating opportunities. In the last year alone, we have implemented a massive public employment program that is historic in scale and pace of rollout. We have created close on to 1 million job opportunities even during this pandemic, demonstrating the seriousness with which we take the task of reforming our economy. We have undertaken far-reaching reforms in a number of sectors. In the electricity sector, which will significantly expand our generation capacity and mobilize new investments, which will create new quality jobs. We are implementing reforms in the ports of our country, in rail, in telecommunications, that will improve efficiency and increase our country's competitiveness while attracting substantial investment in this vital public infrastructure. We are making changes in the management of our water resources that will improve the security of supply of water for all South Africans. Now, with the forthcoming elections, we have an opportunity to bring this renewal process this change process that we've been engineering, these processes of revitalizing our institutions and various processes, we have this opportunity to bring it now to local government. Together we have an opportunity, yes, to turn local government around. And this is what the African National Congress has committed itself to. And we want to do this based on the successes that we've been recording in reforming various institutions and various processes at national government level. Now is the time for us to focus on local government, and we intend to do just that. We have come a long way since the dawn of democracy. The ANC has made sure more people have access to water, they have access to electricity and other basic services. We have also made sure that these services are available for free to poor households who cannot afford to pay. In 2019, more than 3 million households in our country benefited from free basic water services, while more than 2 million households benefited from free basic electricity. That is what I call a caring government. But the quality of water supply is poor in many areas, and there are many communities that still lack access to water and to sanitation. That is why, working with national and provincial governments, we are going to improve the maintenance of water and sewage infrastructure and reduce water leaks. We will ensure that all poor households receive the free basic water allocation to which they are entitled in terms of our policy. And thanks to the ANC government, around 85% of South African households have access to electricity. However, many communities still experience unstable electricity supply. The infrastructure is not properly maintained. There is a problem of illegal connections that overload the various transformers that are installed around our country. And electricity is sometimes cut to homes without warning or explanation. As part of the ongoing work to provide a safe, affordable, and reliable supply of electricity to every South African home, we will significantly increase the contribution of renewable energy through a just energy transition that creates new economic opportunities for workers and for communities. We will also reduce the time that households wait for new electricity connections and invest in the infrastructure that municipalities need to supply homes and businesses. Working together over the last 25 years, we have redistributed over 8 million hectares of land. And yes, we admit that millions of people still need land for farming, for housing, and for running businesses. But we have not been sleeping on the job. We have distributed a whopping 8 million hectares of land. That is why we are speeding up the program of land reform, agricultural support, as well as rural development. As the ANC-led government, we have expanded access to housing for around 4 million households. We have upgraded a number of informal settlements and moved people to better located accommodation in many parts of the country. I was in Ekurhuleni yesterday where I saw how the ANC-led municipality has been able to construct 15,000 housing units and is in the process of accommodating almost 100,000 of our people in the new settlement. And that is progress. We will continue upgrading informal settlements and change municipality zoning practices to better integrate housing, recreation facilities, as well as economic opportunities. Our central task as a nation is to create jobs, as well as sustainable livelihoods for the 12 million people in our country who are unemployed. Our priority is to create opportunities for young people as first-time entrants into the job market at a much faster rate. It is our intention to ensure that skills development programs are more closely aligned to the job opportunities and economic development programs in our communities. The ANC will amend or repeal restrictive bylaws on trading, land use, urban production of crops, and other regulations that prevent people from earning a living. Yes, this we will do. What we will also do is to reduce or remove license fees that many small and informal businesses have to pay in order to do their business. We have found that a number of small and medium enterprises find that, one, there is a lot of red tape, there is a lot of impediments that prevent them from conducting their businesses. And some of that is the high fees that they have to pay. And is the regulations that impede them from doing their business. And all that we want to put into the dustbin so that we free small and medium enterprises so that they can do their business. The ANC is uniquely placed to ensure that all three levels of government work together to grow the economy, to increase jobs and reduce poverty for local communities. The ANC will drive local economic development through the faster implementation of our economic reconstruction and recovery plan, the ERRP, drawing on the successes of our response to the economic effects of COVID-19. We will continue to strengthen social security measures for vulnerable groups. But we will also want to link these measures to mass employment programs to get as many people into work as fast as possible. Now, we have test-driven this process during this pandemic, where we have, through the various programs that we've implemented in government, been able, as I said earlier, to create employment opportunities, particularly for young people during the COVID period. Close on to up to 1 million people have been participating in employment opportunities that we created. Now, our intention in dealing with unemployment is to massify this process, but to also bring in the private sector to be part of this process of creating more and more jobs. so that we work together with the private sector in lessening the unemployment rate in our country. Unemployment is the key focus area that we are going to be working on going forward from now on. We will continue to provide special COVID-19 grants and various support measures for workers and businesses. Now, through the district development model, we are successfully bringing all three spheres of government together with a view of planning better, of budgeting better, and being able to monitor implementation of our programs. Now, the district development model is also aimed at ensuring that our government departments don't work in a silo manner. They work in an integrated manner where they cooperate together in tackling the various challenges that our people face. The ANC will use the district development model to enable municipalities to unlock economic potential of each district, to ensure that there is food security, to accelerate skills development, to support local industries, and also to create jobs. Through this model, we will coordinate the rollout of infrastructure such as roads, bridges, water, electricity, and digital platforms, eliminating duplication and waste. I was in the Eastern Cape just a few days ago, where we are building a massive bridge. And this is where I saw how the district development model works best, because it brings together various departments so that they work together to create cooperation amongst all the key role players. Many people in our country go to bed hungry. The COVID-19 pandemic has made this situation worse. The ANC will work with communities to fight hunger. We will make sure that school feeding schemes and soup kitchens function properly. We will support community and cooperative food gardens, making municipal land available for such projects to support schools as well as the poor. The ANC will link food production to support small-scale farmers and local procurement. In particular, we will ensure the unrestricted development of urban and pavement gardens where crops can be planted to increase food security. One of the biggest pledges the ANC makes to the people of South Africa today is that we are doing things better and we are doing things differently to make sure that the best people will be appointed to run our municipalities. Unlike any other party in our country, the ANC has involved communities in the selection of its ward candidates. And this was overseen by former Deputy President Kgalema Motlanthe, who oversaw the whole process to make sure that communities in our country get directly involved in the choice of our ward candidates. And this has ensured that we have chosen the best candidates that are supported by our communities. As a result, the candidates we are fielding in this election enjoy the confidence of the people they are expected to serve. The candidates are rooted in communities and have a strong record of service. Almost half of our candidates are women, and more than a quarter of our candidates are young. 25% of our candidates are young people. These young candidates will be joining hands with experienced cadres of our older councillors, enabling us to build on the gains that have been made. They will also learn from our mistakes and take local government into a new era. We are committed to making sure that municipal staff must be made up of people who are competent. We want competent municipal managers. We want competent financial officers. We want competent engineers. We want all the people that are going to be deployed to be competent. And we don't want fly-by-nights. We want people who are experienced and have the necessary support to execute their duties in the service of our communities. I am stressing this because leading up to now, these are the fault lines that we have found, that many of our local government structures have been beset by challenges that have revolved around people who have not been well qualified, who are not competent to do their work. This time round, we are going to have competent people who will serve the interests of our people. As part of the renewal of our movement and to strengthen local government leadership, we have implemented a rigorous selection, vetting, and interview process to select ANC mayoral candidates. This is to ensure that every person who is placed in this crucial leadership position in ANC-led municipalities has the experience, the capabilities, and the commitment to fill that responsibility. Many municipalities have been beset by corruption and mismanagement. This has often diverted crucial resources needed to meet the needs of our people. Over the last 2 years, we have made important progress in ending state capture and fighting corruption. We have done this both within government as well as within the ANC. We are committed to make this happen also at local government level. We will subject any and all representatives and officials who fail to do what they are meant to do to disciplinary action and other corrective measures. Where necessary, people will be removed from their positions where they have done wrong. Where there is evidence that a crime has been committed, the matter will be referred to law enforcement agencies. We pledge to act speedily against officials conducting business with municipalities and against those who are implicated in maladministration. Within our own ranks, the ANC will continue to apply the step-aside rule for any members that have been charged with corruption or other serious crimes. Any ANC member facing allegations of wrongdoing must appear before the ANC Integrity Commission to explain themselves. Too many local government functions are still outsourced in many of our municipalities. This practice of outsourcing government functions has been found not only in our country, but in many countries as well, to weaken the ability of government, and especially municipalities, to fulfill their basic functions, and it also creates room for corruption and malfeasance. We will end the outsourcing of essential local government functions and end the practice of labor broking and work to create sustainable municipal jobs. The ANC will work with communities and law enforcement to build safer communities and fight crime as well as substance abuse. Even as I address you this evening, the people of Tshwane are mourning the tragic and brutal killing of Comrade Tshepo Mutaung, an ANC candidate for these elections and a local councillor in Mabopane. We extend to his family, his colleagues and comrades our deepest condolences and sympathies. As with every violent crime in our communities, we call on the police to spare no effort in finding those responsible and ensure that they face the full might of the law. As part of promoting social cohesion, we will rebuild and rehabilitate sports and arts and culture facilities to create programs and opportunities, especially for young people and women as well. Programs of infrastructure development, basic services, housing and local economic development must address the specific needs of women, people with disabilities, and the elderly and children in our communities. We must intensify our work to make homes, public spaces, and places of work safer for women and children. The fight to end gender-based violence and femicide is our collective responsibility. This is a fight that we must engage, all of us collectively, to make sure that this scourge is brought to an end in our country. The ANC will continue to tackle violence against the LGBTQIA and plus community with the same resolve that we tackle other hate crimes. No one must be discriminated against, and no one must be attacked on the basis of their sexual orientation or gender identity. In all our programs and in all our activities, we need to ensure that we empower women economically, socially, and politically, so that we can steadily advance towards the achievements of gender equality and a true non-sexist society. My dear comrades and friends, as the African National Congress, we are well aware that many people here in Tshwane and elsewhere in the country decided not to vote for us in the 2016 local elections. We understand that you were disappointed with the ANC, discouraged by our shortcomings, and angry about allegations of state capture and corruption. As a result, a number of cities and towns, including Tshwane, have been governed by other parties for the past 5 years. This has caused great hardship for the residents of Tshwane, especially. People living in Atteridgeville, in Laudium, and Hammanskraal, for example, have faced long periods without basic services such as water. Just last week, water in Laudium and Atteridgeville was cut off yet again for nearly 8 days. Once more, families could not wash, our people could not flush their toilets, parents could not cook for their children or wash school uniforms on time. In many areas of this city, Rubbish is not collected regularly and lies in huge dumps and piles, attracting flies and rats. Informal settlements have not been upgraded, and the city has failed to make land available so that residents can access service stands and move out of inhuman settlements on Dolomitic land. Throughout the city, infrastructure funds are diverted while residents living in colored, Indian and African communities face burst water pipes, overflowing sewage, roads that are filled with potholes, and the surrounding parks and sports facilities that are neglected and are dilapidated. Informal traders attempting to make an honest living are continuously harassed and intimidated. And so we come to you today and call on you to come out in your large numbers to vote for the ANC so that we can once again govern here in Tshwane and in many other towns and cities around the country. And we ask you to come out and vote for the ANC so that we are able to put the program of social and economic transformation back on track, because in many places it has gone off track. We've come a long way in our young democracy, but much still remains to be done, as I said initially. Working together, we will build a united, non-sexist, non-racial, democratic, and a prosperous South Africa. We will be able to achieve this goal if we build each and every community according to these fundamental values. Comrades and friends, we cannot and will not accept islands of privilege in an ocean of depravity and despair. But we cannot do this alone. We know now that unless you, the voters, actively partner with us in our mission as the African National Congress to build better communities, we will not be able to achieve the pledges that we make in our manifesto. Our manifesto is rich with the type of programs that we want to implement. And this manifesto, by the way, was drafted by many people in our country. It is not just a pipe dream that has been made up by just the leadership. It arises from the ground, and it is owned by the people of our country. And so today, we ask you to go out and vote on the 1st of November in your great numbers, to vote around this real manifesto that we are putting to the country today. And we ask you to give the African National Congress a resounding mandate to fix Tshwane, our capital city, and every other city and town, village and rural area around our country. This is the mandate that we seek from our people. We want our people to come out on the basis of this manifesto that we are presenting to the nation, to see how serious the ANC is, how committed we are, how we are renewing ourselves, how we are revitalizing ourselves, how we are repositioning ourselves, how we are reforming ourselves, how we are doing everything to renew the African National Congress and make sure that it is fit to serve the people of South Africa. We are the African National Congress, and we've been serving the people of this country for the past 27 years. Vote for us, invest your vote in us once again, and the African National Congress will deliver. Vote ANC. Amandla! Amandla! Thank you very much.